Functions and relations. This is the first day of our new unit about linear functions. So what we did today was go over the vocabulary, the important vocabulary that you're going to need for this entire chapter. Our first vocabulary word was relation. And a relation is just a collection of ordered pairs. It's a list of ordered pairs. You may get them from a table. You might take them from a graph. You can get them from wherever you're given the ordered pairs, but it's just a list of ordered pairs, and you write them like ordered pairs. So, for example, we have 4, 6, negative 2, 3, and 9, 7. Those are the 3 ordered pair examples that we're going to use. These are just ordered pairs. X, Y, X, Y, X, Y. The next vocabulary word was domain. Domain. Oh, I labeled the ordered pairs. Here we go. Domain. The input values, or the X values. The input values or the X values. So domain, input, and X values. They're all 3 the same thing. So we're going to use those 3 ordered pairs again. We're just going to identify the X values of those 3 ordered pairs. So I'm rewriting the ordered pairs. We have 4, 6, negative 2, 3, and 9, 7. Now, the domain of this relation is just a list of the X values. Oops. I don't know what happened to the D. That says domain. Domain. The domain of this relation are just the X values, which are 4, negative 2, and 9. Here's the X values, 4, negative 2, and 9. Just the X values of the coordinate. And you can also call them input, or you can call them X values. X values, domain, input. Oops. The next one, range. We have range. A range, they are the output values or the Y values. Output, Y. Now we're going to use the same set of ordered pairs, but now we're going to list the output values, the range, the Y values. So the range will be just the Y coordinates, which are 6, 3, and 7. And we're going to also label them output and Y values. So the input values, X values, domain. That's 4, negative 2, 9. Range, output, Y, 6, 3, and 7. Now we're repeating some vocabulary. Input. We already talked about the input when we did the definition of domain. So I also wrote that in orange so you know they're related. So the input are the X values or the domain. But we want to add some more to that definition because you need to know that the input tells the output what to do. The input tells the output what to do. Like in 6th grade when you did input-output boxes, that's what the input is. So the input is in charge. The input tells the output what to do. Now the definition of the output are the Y values, the range, and the output listens to the input. The output listens to the input. Now I wrote them in the corresponding colors. Domain and input are orange because they go together. Range and output are yellow because they go together. And I highlighted everything. Now, the definition of a function. A function is just a special kind of relation. It's still a list of ordered pairs, so it is a relation, but it's a special relation. So a function is a relation that has exactly one input for every output. So that basically means that all the x values are different. So you'll have a list of all of your ordered pairs. In order for it to be a function, all of your x values have to be different. If any of them are the same, it's not a function, it's a relation. Which brings us to our last vocabulary word, vertical line test. If any of your x values are the same, it will fail the vertical line test. And the vertical line test is a way to show if the graph of a relation is a function. So you'll have a graph of your function, or you'll have a graph of your relation, and you have to show whether or not it's a function by doing the vertical line test. Now you can refer back to these definitions. We're going to need them for the whole chapter, but this first lesson was just about domain and range. So you are going to need the definitions for relation, domain, range, input, and output. So just go to the very next page. The very next page, it still says notes, domain, and range. Notes, domain, and range. The very next page. The next page looks like this. So for this example, we have been asked to identify the domain and the range of the relation represented on the table. Now the table shows the height of a Norway spruce tree at different ages. So we have all this stuff that we're going to fill in. It's already there on your page for you. Now, why did I highlight age in orange? Those are our x values. That's the domain. That's the input. The x values of our relation, that's our domain and our input. Now the y values, they're yellow. Those are the y values. That's the range. And that's the output. So first, let's label those so you remember. Domain, range, input, and output, all color-coded. Now before I had the class fill in the information, we went over the vocabulary, so it's on the page. The domain, x values, range, y values, relation, all of the ordered pairs. So the task was to list the ordered pairs in the relation, list the values of the domain, list the values of the range. So I think it would be a good idea for you to pause the video and see if you can do that. List the ordered pairs, list the domain, list the range. Okay, let's see if you were right. So if you're listing the relation, you're listing the ordered pairs in the relation. So you have to list all the ordered pairs. There are 5 ordered pairs in this relation. 513, 1025, 1534. Oh, we went out of order here in class. Someone gave me 2552 before giving me 2043. Oops, get rid of that. Okay, notice how I wrote the 5, the 10, the 15, the 20, and the 25 in orange, and I wrote 13, 25, 34, 43, and 52 in yellow. The next task was to list the domain values. Now all you're doing is listing the values in the domain, which are the x values. So list the x values. All of the x values from all of these coordinates, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. You pulled them right from that table. They're all there. 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25. Now you do the same thing with the range, which is a list of all the y values. What are the y values? 13, 25, 34, 43, and 52. Those are the y values. Got them. Now the last thing for the last part of this review was the review story. So we paused and everybody filled in the blanks to this little story down here at the bottom. So pause the video again and fill in the blanks and see if you got all the information you needed for this story. All right. A relation consists of, it's two words. A relation consists of ordered pairs. A relation is just a list of ordered pairs. The domain of the relation is the set of all blank blank. It's the set of all x values, or the blank, or the input. The domain of the relation is the set of all x values, or the input. The blank is the set of all y values. The range is the set of all y values, or the blank, or the output. So there we go. Those are all of the notes we took today. What you missed was this assignment right here. Domain and range practice. Domain and range practice. It's right under the notes. It's the page under the notes. For numbers 1 through 4, you have to list the domain and list the range of each relation. That's all you have to do. Just list the numbers in the domain and list the numbers in the range. The next page in OneNote is Desmos, Guess My Rule. This is an introduction to our next lesson. It's kind of a review of input-output tables. It's a little bit weird. Sometimes they throw words and letters in there, but if you just think about it a little bit, it's kind of a cool activity. So think about what they're doing and just try your best on the Desmos activity.